Mixing vinyl doesn't have to be as hard or scary as a lot of people make it out to be. So I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to mix vinyl the best way I know how. We are going to react to and review one of my mixes from a stream I did not too long ago. So let's go. And like I said, this is a mix from a stream that I did the other day. We are going from Loxy and Ink, Murder Incorporated, right over to Busted by Future Cut. And Busted is an interesting one because my record skips in the intro, so I can't play it from the intro. I have to play it from the drop, which is, there are certain times when you might need to do things like that. Play it from somewhere other than the intro. It keeps it interesting, and it kind of teaches you a different way to mix it. So don't be afraid to play from other areas than the intro. Right now, I'm just waiting for something to happen. And there it is. Now, the beginning of the phrase on Murder Incorporated doesn't have a kick, so it can throw people off, but it's still just throwing it right at the beginning. And over here, I am beat matching, and I am syncing the records only with the pitch. Now, there's many things you can do to get the records aligned. You can bump the record, you can do the little spindle trick to slow it down, or you can rub the dots. I don't necessarily like to do those when I'm mixing. When you bump the record or rub the dots, there will be a very noticeable pitch bend. So I try to do only the pitch fader when the volume of the track I'm mixing in is up. Now, when you're just cueing and before the volume is up, you can bump the record, you can rub the dots all you want. It won't affect the sound because the volume's not up. In this case, I was trying to only mix with the pitch fader, not touching the record or the platter at all. And I'm going to have to always adjust it back and forth because I didn't get that initial lock-in. And if you listen, you can really hear a very tiny bit. And then I'm pulling up the volume a little bit on the new track just to introduce it slowly. You know, I don't want to just bang it in there right off the bat. And I'm still messing with the pitch because I didn't get that initial lock-in from just kind of bumping the record into place. Right there on phrase, I bring up the EQs of the track coming in and I lower the EQs of the track going out. That way it just kind of brings the incoming track more in the forefront. I still have the bass going on Murder Incorporated and I have the bass down on Busted because I had to play it from the drop. So there is a bass line there and I don't want it to interfere with the other track. Something I do want to point out is that I'm not using the crossfader because I broke it.
You fucked up.
I'm just using the volume and the EQs to kind of make up for that fact. Because the way a crossfader works in a normal club position in the X configuration, as it's bringing up one track, it brings down the other one to even out the volumes. And then as you keep going, it brings up and drops it out, and vice versa. So because I can't do that, I'm just bringing up the volume of one, bringing down the volume of the other, bringing up EQs, bringing down EQs, to not stack too much volume on top of each other. And if you listen, you can hear the bass notes, but they're not muddying up what's playing. And you just took it out to have that little stab that was from the other record. Little things like that add flair, they add character to the mix. And right there, since I have the EQs up on the track coming in, I start adjusting the pitch on the track that's going out. That way, if they're not matched and there is any sort of audible pitch bend, it's going to be less noticeable because the other track is the one that the audience can hear more. And right there on phrase, you know, there's a little fill from one of them. Then I bring down the bass of one, bring up the bass of the other one. And there we go. And with the way Busted does, I think it's a 32 or a 64 before those high synths come in, it works really well to mix it this way from the drop. And just another little cutout to bring life to the mix. You know, just micro adjustments to keep the beats in there. And then I killed the bass on Busted, brought up the bass over here on Murder, and then did the in and out. I think it's Sound Clash style when they would bring the volume up and down. then little small adjustments to keep the beats matched as best I can. Little flare trick. And the hands in there, it gets people going. People like it, it looks fun. And there we go, mixed out of it. Now, I could have either done a very smooth transition to slowly brought down the other one, or add in the little tricks there to kind of bring attention to the fact that you're switching over. Both work great. The one that I just did, don't do it all the time. People will get bored of it. They'll notice that's the only transition you do. So switch it up between smooth transition and tricks like that. Any little back and forth, EQing up and down, killing the bass, bringing the bass up, all that stuff. It all adds to the overall mix and it just gives life to it. And it, you know, sounds a lot better.